So I'm gonna continue now that my slides are shown up. And actually with an indoor tracking system, I would have known where the people are and that they should cut in or how many are outside. So it's all about location, what I'm talking to you in the next 15 minutes. And yeah, a little bit about my person that you can understand who I am and what I'm doing. Actually, when I was younger, I was a Boy Scout, and in my DNA, it seems to be that I like to find things in the wild or even also in the smart city. So I was a researcher for a couple of years, built the first smart city in Europe, and then I moved or built up a small company, moved into indoor spaces, and encountered that in indoor spaces, finding things is a challenge. So many different locating technologies, so many different environments. And a couple of years ago, I came in touch with a group of companies who try to solve indoor locating for industry. And that's the stuff I'm gonna present you now. It's not my company, it's an industry association and an industry standard to locate things in diverse environments, in logistics, in production sites, in also other verticals. And the association I'm presenting today, it's called Profibus. It's one of the biggest associations for industrial communication and automation. The association is 30 years old. It was initially founded by Siemens. We have 1,700 members globally. So a huge group of companies joining forces to standardize technology to the benefit of all, to make more business because technology life becomes more easy. And within the organization, non-for-profit, companies join in. We have working groups. We have one technology that we deal with. It's locating technology. And why do we do that? Yeah, I think everybody can underline this. Everything is moving. It's moving more and more in indoor spaces with flexible production, matrix production, all the indoor logistics, robots moving around, drones flying around. So there is a lot of movement going on indoors and of course also on larger production sites. So our world is very dynamic, and of course it's a challenge to know where things are. Either to find them or to represent them in a digital twin to see, that's the HEV, here's the forklift, here is the machine that I've built. And therefore, yeah, it's an important challenge to know where things are. And yeah, what can one do with knowing where things are? Of course, it's a key enabler for automation. If you know a certain machine is at a certain place, or a human has done a certain step and moved away from the machine, then you can recognize, the task is finished, and some IT system might be informed, or Loki might recognize, the worker has finished the task, or the good has arrived already. Now I can update the warehouse management system that the information is there. And of course, yeah, it streamlines processes, and today I will focus a little bit on operational efficiency, but also it helps getting production and logistics more sustainable. If you know where things are, how they have been moved from A to B, you can compute or calculate the carbon footprint, the scope 3 emission, which is for many companies a challenge to compute them, especially when they are not fully in charge of the transportation, and their location data can also be an important driver. We, in our group, we target, or we are also agile, we target a list of use cases. We have a use case working group that deals with a lot of industrial use cases in asset management, using assets more efficiently, how many forklifts do you need, how many tools of a certain kind, which are expensive do you need, where are they? Of course, a no-brainer. A lot of use cases are around logistics, material flow, getting things from A to B. Another use case category, operation, automation, maintenance. We heard a lot of maintenance and training and AR in maintenance, for example. And of course, when things are moving, safety is also an important topic. But the question and the challenge, and that is the situation as it is today for locating services, there are so many technologies, so many approaches, and often in today's world they are manually wired. IT integrators build up custom solutions, and that is due to we have so many devices that can be located, smartphones, tags, barcodes on a product that you can scan. We have a lot of wireless technologies from Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GSM, 5G. Then of course also locating technologies. You can use radio signals, you can use cameras, you can use inertial sensors, and of course a lot of applications that would benefit from location data. And today most of the projects are wired like this, and then we had the discussion on the return of invest. The thing explodes and it becomes not affordable for medium-sized companies because you need a system integrator, you wire up the thing, and then it gets too expensive. And that is exactly the stuff that we are dealing about in our standardization initiative to make life much easier and to make it more interoperable and open. And how do we do that? Here you can see a sketched production site with a yard management or yard, and then the warehouse and two production site. You can see on top of it in abbreviations some technologies that are used in those areas. Wi-Fi for communication, for example, BLE for some proximity detection. So a lot of locating technologies being in place. And on top of it, all the applications that might benefit from location data, like warehouse management, ERP system, worker safety applications. And we with omlox, we are taking now care of two things. On the one hand, we specify a software, a locating middleware that harmonizes the location data from all the different sources to give applications streamlined access no matter which locating technology is underneath from which vendor. So applications can receive location data much more easy. And the second thing that we do, we have one focus on a specific locating technology which in the past was not standardized, where only proprietary solution exists, and that's a locating technology that is especially in very dynamic environments with a lot of metal, with a lot of reflections, superior, which is ultra-wideband. So we have two elements, two working groups to standardize this. For all other locating technologies, there are other standardization organizations where we collaborate, but for those we define how a system should work. We define application interfaces, we define behavior in an interactive manner. And every standard or any approach, if different companies work together, you need to have a certain naming schema. We distinguish a zone where a locating technology can locate things, and so we have two different type of zones. And our software, our middleware is called an omlox hub. And what we do now, which is disruptive, and many proprietary companies do not like what we do, because it's easier if you have a customer relation and the customer is forced to buy from you because it's a proprietary solution and you can dictate the prices for the hardware. You know that he is bound to your solution, and therefore we are disruptive by having now these layers in place, and in between free competition. We are a non-for-profit organization. Companies are competing within our organization, and so the complete ecosystem becomes like a Lego brick example. You can build up different modules. You are not bound to any proprietary solution anymore. Yeah, and within omlox we have two main pillars being integrated. One is the concept of a trackable, a thing you want to track across different locating technologies, wherever it might be. So for example, it might be located in a container with a GPS-enabled device. Then it might be on a truck with another GPS-enabled solution. Then in the warehouse, entering the warehouse. Then somewhere it's stored. Also with AGVs or with human. And an application does not want to take care how the thing was located. It just want to know where the thing is. And therefore this concept of a trackable comes into play. So an IT application just has to ask, where is the pallet? And the pallet might answer, yeah, I'm at this location, and where the location came from, that is dealt by the standard and the middleware. And then we also provide basic functionality that are used or needed for many of the use cases we have collected in the past. One is translating local coordinates to global ones, because we are living in a global world. If you know where XYZ is in a building, that might be in your local vicinity enough, but if you want to have a complete picture, then you need to know where it is on the globe. And then many applications need to know whether something is inside or outside a certain area, or whether two things are close to each other. For example, for mounting a certain pipe, in your example, you want to know whether this was really mounted, whether there was a collision. And those basic functionalities are drivers for many, many use cases. As said, universal being needed. And by having this, it's like, as said, universal means you can have the complete transparency on a production site, no matter which locating technology is used, in which status. You can use brownfield applications that are already in place. So you have complete transparency, whatever moves in a production site. We have a lot of customers or adopters in the field of automotive. They run a huge production site with different status, new halls being built with new technologies like 5G, for example. Osram is an example for that. And yeah, to have this transparency and use the data then in no matter which applications you are running. And by having this access to location data, of course, you can increase the utilization of mobile assets. I mentioned forklift. You can optimize the material flow. You can automate processes by knowing when a thing arrived, then automate the IT system. You can optimize the space utilization. So when you know how many stuff is at a certain place, you know it might be filled, the warehouse, or I need more space. Of course, energy consumption for moving things and worker safety. Those are the elements where location data can provide value. And I brought two examples with me. One is Mann & Hummel, a company who is doing air filter and water filters, 4 billion revenue, annual revenue, typical mid-sized German company. And they had the problems that the logistics are not managed by themselves, so they are preparing shipment, but then by accident not the right truck arrives, and then they have to reorganize and use the space more efficiently. And now they have an omlox system locating where the parcels are, and by doing so they save for a small space, they save 50 person days a year, and the time to value was in a sub-year range. Just a small example. And of course you can do this with a proprietary solution, of course, but then you might be bound to this solution, and by having the combination of the different technologies, the customer is happy that he can now decide for another location, technology in another place, and he has this flexibility. Another example also in supply chain and logistics, it's Liebherr. They are producing these large excavators, mining machines, 800 tons machines, so they cannot be shipped in total, so they need to be deconstructed, and they have a chaotic warehouse or yard management. They pick these wooden boxes at a certain place, and now they need to search and find them. And also here, combination of different locating technologies. They save 30 minutes per forklift per day, and by simple calculation you can see that within 8 months they are on a cash positive side. Yeah, and of course, if you have seamless access to location data, you can also enable new business models for utility as a service, transportation as a service, space delivery as a service. So this is an enabler for many tool companies, small companies, to go into more a subscription-based business model. Yeah, what are the key takeaways? Yeah, so location data, to my belief, is important. And the easier the access is, the better it is. With omlox, you have the flexibility to decide which combination of locating technologies. It's an architecture concept, it's an open standard, you can join in, we have working groups, so you can also contribute. And yeah, by using this, it's future-proof, the IP belongs to this non-for-profit organization, you are not bound to one specific vendor, and therefore you have the free choice how to build up a solution in the future. Thank you.